So okay, so thanks everyone for joining. Hopefully all of you are under 9 football, and if you're representing somebody else, hopefully we'll make this nice and clear. And as I said, the recording will be made available for everyone to view as we go along. Kieran, can you just confirm that that little disclaimer came up there about recording?
Yeah, come up there, Damon. Yeah.
Lovely, thanks. Okay, so this year our Go games are sponsored by Specsavers. So it's great to have the sponsorship in the first instance, but also Specsavers are bringing a special offer to the party. So down through the years, we've seen a lot of kids playing games wearing just regular spectacles, and obviously they get broke and they cost money to replace. But also there's a danger aspect to it. So any kid that's playing contact sport should be wearing the safety goggles. So Specsavers are just in the process of doing an offer for us where a member of a GEA, a Longford GEA club, can go into Specsavers in Longford. They can give their details to the staff there, get fitted out for the safety goggles or contact lenses, and Specsavers will send the name back to our office, and we'll just run it through Service Sport to make sure they're a signed up member. And then we'll confirm that that child can receive the offer. So, and then the parent just proceeds and gets the special offer. So something's really handy. We'll send it out to clubs in a poster and all the rest. We're just waiting for Specsavers to send us the details. And once you have it, I'm sure there are a number of kids within all your age groups that will be able to avail of it and will make it very worthwhile for the years ahead. So just in your chat box there, I want you to type in what you're expecting from tonight's webinar. And hopefully by the end of it, we'll be able to answer all of those queries. So if you just go into the chat box, start typing away what you expect from today's webinar, and I'll just keep an eye on it on the phone here. So type away. Yes, so an outline of the under-9 games. Yeah, we're definitely going to be giving you that, the fixtures, and then you'll be selecting them yourselves, the venues that you're going to attend to. Don't be shy, we're going to be getting lots of engagement from you later on, so just anything else that you might be expecting from this. Format of games, yeah, thanks Enda, we'll definitely be covering that. Yeah, rules, venues of games, we'll be covering that, Mossy. Team sizes, yeah, we'll be covering that one as well. Just give it another 15 seconds. Okay, you can keep typing in there if you want, and Kieran might bring it to my attention, or I'll pick it up later. So what we're going to do is just really quick about what Go games are. Obviously, most of you would have got it last year at under 8 and possibly even the year before. So how they work, how under 9 works, when will they be starting, a little checklist at the end, and then we'll go through the selection of our fixtures. So Go games are small-sided games. The emphasis is on fun and lots of touches. We don't keep scores within Go games. Obviously, the kids have a fair idea how the game is going themselves, and they might be keeping it in their own head. But as coaches and referees, we don't make an issue of the score, and we don't try and fob kids off that every game is a draw game. What we're really trying to develop is the kids, their skills and their ability to play the game, as opposed to their feel-good factor being determined by the result or whatever it is. It's more about the kids' development. Very much on active coaching. We talked at the under-7 webinar where we would want and expect coaches from both teams to be coaching all of the players on the field, their own players and the players of the opposition. It's using every opportunity we can to try and help a child become a better player and enjoy the game. Rules, yeah, we'll be covering the rules. So we'll definitely be covering that. and that every child gets a lot of game time on every blitz that they go out to. So really, they're the guiding principles of Go Games. So how do they work? Hopefully, most of you will be aware of this booklet that was published back at the end of 2020, probably around November time. A copy was sent to all clubs, secretaries, so you can chase that one down if you like. And within that, we have a page dedicated to Go, or a couple of pages dedicated to Go Games. So this is what the under-9 structure looks like. If anybody wants to take a screenshot of that, I'm going to be going through it in smaller sections over the next couple of slides. But if you want to get your camera out and just take a screenshot of that, you have it nice and handy. I'll just let it linger there for a minute. Okay, so I'll just move on. So the structure there, if anybody can just keep their mic, make sure it's off. I'm just getting a little bit of background noise there. So the structure is, in general, so as I said, this document was done back at the end of last year with the idea that blitzes would be bi-weekly, every second week. Obviously, things have changed and we've had to adapt the fixtures accordingly, in that we can't start for another couple of weeks yet. So blitzes in the main will be bi-weekly. Sometimes it might be 3 weeks between a blitz and possibly even 4 weeks, depending on other situations. The idea is that the kids would get at least 3 and ideally 4 matches per blitz. The event would last for 60 minutes and the duration of the game would be 12 minutes with no half time unless there's a wind. So if there is a wind, basically the game doesn't stop. It's just the teams play in the opposite direction. Just blow a little whistle after 6 minutes and they play in the opposite direction. They don't leave the field. So what we have programmed so far is 6 blitzes in phase 1, which takes the kids up to going back to school. Then there's a phase 2, which we won't be doing until closer to the time, and that's optional. So clubs will put it out to you if you want to continue on in the second phase, and you'll decide to get in or out, and then we'll do new fixtures based on that. And then all the fixtures will be played at club venues, the same as you would have done last year at under 8. So what a pitch would look like. So at under 9, it's a max of 8 aside. 8 aside is not a target. At under 9, 5 aside is equally as beneficial as anything over that. So really 5, 6, 7, 8 aside would be how many it would be. You will notice in that diagram there are no goalkeepers. So we definitely encourage that some games are played without goalkeepers, particularly on an evening like this evening. You don't want somebody just standing around there all the time. So just defence, midfield and attack, and we'll go through some of the rules, how that might look as we go along. So if you can imagine an aerial view of your own pitch, if you only had one pitch, we would be looking for 5 mini pitches to be set up within that. So the 4 corners and then 1 pitch set up between the 2 65s. And that'll give you 5 pitches in total to be able to cater for 10 teams. Just say for in Clonbrony's sake, where they have a little bit of grass behind the main pitch, well then another pitch can be set up there. If you're someone like St. Vincent's and you have 2 pitches, well then you can get up to 8 pitches, or you can set them across the width and get 6 pitches, whatever it suits. Just important that most club pitches don't want you setting up in front of the goals, and then obviously there's a danger there with the posts as well. So the whole idea of Go Games is to make it a valuable and a beneficial experience for players. The idea in doing this webinar is to make it more, give coaches more ideas that will make it manageable for them and therefore more enjoyable for the players, and trying to find out ways of preventing having 2 and 3 subs on the line, and the coach being more concerned with trying to get the subs onto the field than actually trying to help the few players that is on the field. So I want to go through a couple of things like this. So the numbers issue is always one, and it's something that if it's given a little bit of thought and a bit of planning, it can be figured out very easily. So most important thing is that if you're going to a venue, that you touch in with the host a number of days in advance. All of our underage contacts is on the Longford GAA website. If somebody reminds me to do it, I'll show you at the end. but it's all on the website under about, contacts, and then youth mentors. So you'll find the under-9 contact for every club, and sometimes there's 2 or 3 people there. Very important that you call that person 3 or 4 days before your blitz. Give them an idea how many players you're coming with, and they will then hopefully might send you a text back saying that, look, I'd like you to field 3 teams on Wednesday. Those 3 teams will be 7 aside, and that you can have your planning done in advance. That there would be at least 5 pitches set up at the venue with an assigned coach or referee, Go Games referee, or a coach from another age group to come down and referee on that pitch. It's not great when you're looking for one of the travelling coaches to pick up the refereeing off a game. It's always better if that can be provided internally. Ideally, you're always looking to get an even number of teams playing so that there's not a team standing out. And that's why using the 5, 6, 7 or 8 aside teams will make the difference. Using one of those to try and get the even number of teams. A question we had at both the under 11 and the under 7 webinars was about putting a couple kids from 2 different clubs together to make a team. And by all means, we would encourage that. But what we have found down through the years is that there is a bit of resistance from coaches to do that, to take a number of kids from another team or have their kids playing with a different coach. So look, it's not something that anybody would be enforcing, but the whole benefit is to try and get an even number of teams playing. Therefore, more players are playing all of the time. You would assign the teams to a pitch, and then you would rotate the same team off a pitch all of the time. So one team will always rotate in a clockwise direction, and that team will move every time. And then there will be one team staying on the pitch every time. And then that means if you have 5 pitches going, everyone has got 5 games against a different opposition, or even if it's only 4 games, it's been against a different opposition every time. So playing time per child, ideally it's a full game every game. In reality, that doesn't work out. So substitutions are needed and required. And sometimes it's because the kid needs a rest, and then obviously there's injuries and stuff like that. So it's not a target to be aiming for every child to play all of every game, but you're trying to limit the number of kids on the sideline as much as possible, and then understanding that sometimes kids do need a rest, and that's maybe when you might use the goalkeeper as well, and that kids will pick up knocks and bumps. And if that game needs to be balanced out and the other team needs to take away a player, then that should happen. And if it's a 7v8 and the game is still going away fine and it's nice and balanced, well, then that's fine also. And as we said earlier, scores are not recorded. So that's how a pitch would look as 8 aside if you were using the goalkeepers. Again, no rocket science there. You will notice that we don't have marked zones in there. And that's not something that you have to do or you don't have to do. If you want to play the zones, at under 9, we would probably say just a halfway line and communicate that with the clubs in advance that you're going to be doing the zones. We would definitely encourage teams to be training using zones within practice. It's the best way of helping players to understand they're a forward, a defender, or a midfielder. So if you want to run your blitzes with zones, just communicate it to the clubs that's coming to you in advance. So the coach intervention that we're looking for is that it's to individuals. It's not necessarily about what the team is doing. It's about helping the individuals on the team, and ideally trying to pick up one key point between matches that you want your team to work on. So they're after playing the first game and maybe they kicked a lot of ball out over the end line and it wasn't really, or it was bouncing out over the end line. So maybe you're trying to encourage them to pass to their forwards as opposed to just kicking the ball as far as they can. What we do notice at a lot of blitzes is that the person who's acting as the referee doesn't have a whistle. It makes it very hard to have control of a game if you don't use the whistle. And, you know, you're trying to call a kid back for a foul and somebody else has gone on with the ball. The whistle answers all of that. And it's a very simple thing, but we have noticed it down through the years that it doesn't always, it rarely ever happens, if the truth be told. So it will make a big difference to the games if the person refereeing carries a whistle and uses it. So the specific rules that are in there for under 9. If you're not using a goalkeeper, the last person back takes the kick out. Now, sometimes you will have a kid that wants to get that free kick. So maybe they're struggling to kick the ball in open play and they want to get that free kick. So they'll hang back waiting for the ball to go out of play. Therefore, they're not marking their defender. So just keep an eye on that. Make sure that they're trying to play that role as a defender and that you rotate the people that are taking the kick out. A correct pickup must be attempted. So obviously they need to be standing on their 2 feet. Their hands need to be fairly close to the ground, and there needs to be an action of their foot moving towards the ball. And as long as that action is there, then that's defined it as an okay pickup. We wouldn't be blowing those. It's where a kid is making no attempt, they're just picking the ball straight at the ground. And if anybody goes off feet, then that's a stop and play, because that sort of stuff can get dangerous for somebody that ends up lying on the ground. Again, when we're talking girls and boys playing together, and ultimately that girls might end up playing under 12 football where they have to play by boys' rules anyway, we would be encouraging girls to be playing by the same rules as boys, that they're working on the correct pickup as well. And that's again where the coach and the referee comes into play, that they're keeping an eye on it. If somebody is really, really struggling, somebody has a little intervention there with that person, and that you don't end up giving a free against them all the time. But if there's a really good kid and they're just being lazy about it and picking the ball off the ground, well, then that should be a free, because you know they're capable of doing better. It's a maximum of 2 plays. Again, that shouldn't be a target. What we'd love to see is maybe just using the 1 bounce, getting the head up and having a kick of the ball. Kicking is very important in this age grade. A new rule there is just 1v1 tackling allowed. So if you're looking at the booklet that I referenced earlier with the 3 age grades, the 7, 9 and 11, the under 7 rule is that it's only shadow tackling. So an opposition player can't lay a hand on a person with the ball. It's just shadow tackling. And then trying to intercept the ball as opposed to trying to take the ball off somebody else. Because as you will know from last year and the year before, a lot of kids want to try and just grab the ball out of someone else's hand, and it just turns the game into a mess. So at under 9, it's 1v1 tackling. If a second person comes into the tackle, we would be encouraging the referee to give a free early on so that the kids understand that they can't double up on the tackle. Another new rule there is that we want to try and allow 6 seconds on the ball. So like a kid at under 9 and even up to under 12 or 13, their steps are very short. So if they take a solo, they no sooner have the ball back in their hand and their 4 steps are gone. So what we want to look at is to try and give the kids 6 seconds on the ball to get their kick, ideally a kick or their pass away. Now, once that's going 4 and 5 seconds, the referee should be saying, play the ball. And then if it goes beyond the 6 seconds, well, then it's a free for over carrying. But we're trying to give them a little bit more time on the ball to get their head up, pick a pass, and that they're not under pressure to be trying to get a solo in or get a bounce in or work on every 4 steps. The standard rule of the person foul takes the free all the time. And then sidelines are taken by the nearest person and then rotated. Again, you don't want somebody hogging a sideline just to get the free kick of the ball. Can a tackle be attempted on a player trying to pick the ball off the ground? So there can, but not a shoulder charge. If somebody is trying to pick the ball up and somebody is swiping in with a hand at that pickup and they're playing the ball, then of course that can be done. But in reality, the coaching of the tackle at under 9 is very difficult. So what we would encourage is that you're coaching them not to foul, and then the tackle will come later in the day. But obviously there will be exceptional kids that can do that and do understand it. But we would be thinking more so that the tackle, you're encouraging the kid and coaching the kid not to foul, as opposed to trying to win the ball back, because the ball is open for winning back a lot of the time. If there's kick passing and even hand passing going along, the ball can be won back. It doesn't need to be won back in a tackle. I'll keep an eye on those if there's any more questions. So just on the checklist, have you enough parents or mentors to cater for all the teams that you're going to be fielding? If you're a host, have you the referees lined up? Do you have a whistle, the jerseys, a first aid kit? It's probably not something a lot of teams carry around with them. Do you have enough footballs, and are they marked off to cater for all of your teams? Like, it really slows a game down if there's only one football going on a pitch. Really, there should be 3 balls, one behind both goals and then the one in play. So this last one here, sorry, we adapted this from the under-7, so I should have taken that out. You don't need to let Longford GA know the players you're bringing, but you do need to let the hosts know. Under-7s is going to be a little bit different because we'll be running all the blitzes in Pearse Park. And then I'm just going to talk about the form after a blitz and how that's important. So something that caused a lot of grief maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago as you all hit back to the field was the health questionnaire. So I'm just going to stop sharing this presentation for a second. If anybody has any questions on the health questionnaire, you can type it into the chat box, or you can stick your hand up and Kieran will ask you to turn on your mic. But we did have a video that we circulated to clubs. It has been watched a lot of times, so hopefully that has answered a lot of needs. But we just felt it important to bring this up if it was still causing anybody any grief. So if anybody wants to ask a question on that, just stick your hand up, and Kieran, you might get them to turn on the mic. I think there's something just coming through there.
Somebody typing there right there, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, this can be a problem. Difficult getting parents to complete the health questionnaire. And the easy solution then is going back to maybe just getting them to sign in and whatever. It is a very simple system. If that video is used and you have somebody at training that will take 2 or 3 minutes with a parent to go through the form, get them set up, it makes life way easier for ye as coaches, because in general, you know how many people is going to be coming in advance. But also, if there is ever a need of contact tracing, then the app is there for it. Whereas with all the best will in the world, pen and paper, and on an evening like this, definitely anyone using pen and paper tonight scrapped it. They wouldn't have done it at all. And then even trying to keep that for what might need to be 2 or 3 weeks if something comes about off the back of that. So it is really important to try and embrace the health questionnaire. I think it'll be there for a long time. It'll be a big help for us as well when it comes to cool camps, because anyone attending a cool camp will have to use it daily. So if your club is not implementing it, it's going to bring a lot of grief upon parents at the time of cool camp, and then obviously a lot of grief on us as well. So we would encourage people to commit to really trying to address it using that video. And if there are individual parents that are struggling with it, that somebody who is quite knowledgeable in it just takes a bit of time once the kid has gone out training to work with the parent to make sure they get set up on it and everything's working okay. Can't get supervisor set up. Is there an issue there? So on a supervisor, whoever is your club admin. Now, club accounts there are 2 accounts. There are your underage account and there is your adult account. So I don't think you can set up a supervisor using your underage admin account. You can only do it from the adult admin. So just give me 1 second there. So if your club admin is not able to do that, then on this page here, so this is my login detail here, you have a help center down at the very bottom. Once you click into the help center, they have the frequently asked questions. So a lot of stuff there. You have the browse by topic, so the different things that you can have here, and then some posted up here as well. And then you have a video library here, so short little videos that they have created about how you do certain stuff, and then the long webinars are there as well. So again, I'll just go back to that one, just down at the very bottom. So your screen will usually open like that. Just scroll down a little bit, and you have help center down here at the bottom. So that again should be able to answer any questions that you have. Okay, I can come back to any more if there's anything there again. So you will remember from last year when you hosted a blitz, what we asked you to do was, say there was 4 teams attended. You would have got a text message from me or a phone call asking how many players, how many boys, girls had your club and the other 3 clubs. So you had to give me the information for all 4 clubs. We fully appreciate that even on your own club, the chances are that the boy-girl split wasn't correct and that maybe even the total number wasn't correct. So to try and help ease that for you going forward, we've created one of these little online forms, and we'll share the link in advance of blitzes taking place. So we need to record all this information for Sport Ireland and for the GAA for reporting purposes. So if you attend one of our fixtured blitzes, or you organise a challenge blitz within your own ground. So a challenge blitz, if you're bringing one other club and you're fielding multiple teams, or you're bringing 2 or 3 clubs, all you need to do is send an email in advance to Peter O'Reilly at secretary.longford@gaa.ie to say the date that this under-9 blitz is taking place, the clubs that are attending, the time of the blitz, and that's for insurance purposes. So if anything happens on that night and somebody puts in an insurance claim, that the event has been logged. It's not that Peter needs to give you permission to have it, it's just that it's for an insurance. So if you host one of those blitzes yourself, we want you to fill out this form as a Longford club person. So if you attended that blitz, you fill this out for your own club. So it's really simple. It only takes 1 minute. So you stick your name in there. You go down to your underage section. So you just pick it from the drop-down menu. You go to the date of the blitz. Ideally, that would be the night of the blitz or the day previous. But if you needed to go back the way, you just click back and we pick 22nd of April. The age grade you took part in. So again, a drop-down menu. The total number of teams fielded. So you fielded 3 teams. So this is just your total number of teams. So it's 3. The total number of boys you had was 12. The total number of girls you had was 6. The total number of coaches you had attendance was 3. And this little comment, which is not mandatory, it's not required, but if there was just any little comments or observations that you wanted to make about the blitz, maybe paying a compliment to the host club, the way they looked after you, the way it was well ran, if it was something that, you know, maybe you weren't happy with, that you can flag with us and we can go back to the host and maybe address it anonymously. This gives you the opportunity to add that. And then you just go down here to submit, and all that information comes through to us. So literally only a minute that you need to do that after every blitz that you attended. So any questions on that? And we'll move on to the fixtures. So any hands up there? Okay, we can take questions at the very where do you get that form? So I'll send that form out to everybody closer to the time. It'll be sent out by text message. You will save it. One of the handy things, if you know, on your phone, when you open a link like a web link or whatever it is, so on an iPhone, you just hold your finger on it. Down at the bottom of the screen, you get a couple little icons. With one of them has a square with a little arrow pointing up. If you touch that little thing, it's a share button. It will allow you to pin that form to your screen. So it's as if it's an app. It's not an app. It just pins it to one of your screens. And then anytime you can just click into it, it'll open straight away, and you can just complete the form and submit. So I'll send that to everybody in advance of the blitz starting, and it's the same link for all of those age grades, and it'll be the same link for the full season. It won't be a different one every time. So it's a good question. Thanks for that. Okay, I'm just going to go, any that would have been familiar before with how we do the fixtures in other years is we invited you into Pearse Park. I put up this exact system here. I have determined the date of the blitz, so you will get it here. I have determined the host venues, so there's 5 host venues for all of these blitzes, and the host club is already in. So the order I'm going to go in is, for this first one, will be Northern Gales, Clonbrony, Southern Gales, St. Patrick's, Longford Slashers, Wolf Tones, and I go across like this every time. Then you'll notice that the order changes. So Wolf Tones was 6th here, they're up to 1st. And Clongish, who was a host up here, ends up in last in the line down here. So everybody gets to pick in a sort of chronological order as we go along. Now, for the purposes of this, it's a lot easier in RC Breen. I want to get, there might be multiple people on the call from your club. So I just want you to decide there, you might text each other to the person that's going to talk. And if ideally, I would like you just to knock on your mic in advance of your name coming up, your club name coming up. So you'll see me going in order. Just knock on your mic in advance of that. Be able to call out the host where you want to go. So if Northern Gales are going to be the first thing here, they should be saying to me, Granard, Killaloe, Lanesborough, Carrick Edmond or Clongish. And then I'll assign them into one of these slots here. And then you put your mic off again. It saves the feedback and the echoes and all the rest. If you're not comfortable going on and off all the time, just leave it on and we'll try and do as best we can. So I'm going to start here with Northern Gales. So whoever is the person there from Northern Gales, if you can just tell me which venue you want to go into. And if there's nobody there from one of the clubs, just at the end of it tomorrow, I'll reassign them to whatever slots are available. So if Northern Gales can tell me where they want to go. Thanks. Anyone there from Northern Gales?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, have you now?
Yeah, I'd say Granard.
Okay.
Say this.
Clonbrony. So again, just make sure that your mic is on.
Can you hear me, Damien?
Have you now?
Yeah. Killaloe, please.
Southern Gales.
Lanesborough, please, Damien.
Recently,
St. Patrick's.
See.
Carrick Edmond, demo.
Longford Slashers.
Clongish, please.
Wolf Tones. Is there anyone there from Wolf Tones?
We're going to be asked again the next time. He gives me a chance.
Yeah, just check your mic if you're there from Wolf Tones. I'm not hearing anybody. Okay, I'll go on to Cullenkill.
It's Lanesborough. So don't want to go there.
Granard. Over Granard.
Yeah,
Anyone from Cullenkill?
Killaloe.
Okay.
It's just on the two.
Ballymahan.
Nish up there. It's not on this.
We'll go Lanesborough.
St. Dominic's.
Carrick Edmond, please.
Grattan Gales.
Clongish, please.
St. Francis.
We'll go Killaloe there, demo.
And St. Vincent's.
Go Clongish.
Okay, so is there anybody there from Wolf Tones?
Yeah, Damien. John here, Damien.
Okay, good man, John. We have you up and running, so putting you into Granard there, John.
Oh, yeah, great.
You can stay there, John. You're first up this time.
Go Carrick or Arda.
St. Columkills. Joe, is it there? Just the mic again.
Sorry, Damien, what was that again? I lost you for a second there.
Yeah, just where do you want to go in this one? Mullinock, the Ballinlee, Cashel, Arda, or Slashers?
We pick different groups every time, do we, Damien?
Yeah. You'll go.
We'll go Mullinock then keep it close.
Okay. Lovely. Ballymahan, Mossy.
Sir, we will go to Arda.
St. Dominic's.
Slashers, please. No, Slashers in.
Grattan's.
Cashel, please, Damien.
Corney.
Ballinlee there, demo.
St. Vincent's.
Go Slashers.
Granard.
Hello. Ballaleigh there.
Okay. Kilo.
We go Ballaleigh, Damien. If
Lovely. Shannon Gales.
Slashers there, please.
Carrick. Cashel or Mullinocta. Anyone there from Cashel? Or from Carrick Sarsfield, sorry. Okay, we'll jump on to Clongish.
Mullinocta.
Okay, so we're down to round 3 now. So the venues are Edgerstown, Colmkill, Ballymahon, Keena and Grattan. So Corner, you're up first.
Colmkill there.
Enda.
Colmkill.
Granard.
Go Drumlister.
No, the blue headings across the top here. Edgerstown, Colmkill, Ballymahon, Keena, Grattans.
All right, we go with Colmkill.
Okay. Kilo.
Colmkill, Damien, if we can.
No, Colmkill is gone now, so just the white ones that's left open.
Edgerstown, probably.
Okay. Shannon Gales.
Keena there, please.
Carrick. We anyone there from Carrick yet?
We'll go Keena.
Lovely. Clongish.
Grattans.
Northern Gales.
We'll go Edgerstown.
Clonbrony. Just the mic on, maybe.
Grattans, Damien.
Lovely. Southern Gales.
Grattans, Damien.
Okay, so no choice in the last 2. Okay, so you'll just see here, there's just a slight change in the order now to come out, just to balance the venues between North, South and Central. So you'll not actually be coming out in the same order we were going there, but again, it's still very similar. So the venues now are Dramar, Drumlish, Kilo, Lanesborough and Legan. Granard, you're up first. Yeah, just the mic on again.
We'll go with Legan.
Okay. Clongish.
Kilo.
Clonbrony.
Dramar, please.
Southern Gales.
Lanesborough.
St Patrick's.
Kilo.
Back home, Barry. Northern Gales.
We'll go Dramard.
Kieran.
Drumlish, please.
Joe, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll go with Jamard.
Mossy.
Lanesborough.
St Dominic's.
Legan, please.
Grattans.
Legan, Damien, please.
And John, you're into Drumlish. Okay, so the home venues here: Granard, Clongish, Ballinalee, Killishee and Arda. Sorry, you should have mentioned there, for the likes of Southern Gales and Carrick Sarsfields, if you can come back to me tomorrow if there's an issue with using the different pitches. So I've just staggered Cashel and Killishee. So if you come back to me tomorrow, we can change the venues to one or the other, or even closer to the time, you can just change it with the clubs that are coming if a pitch is not available or whatever reason. But obviously it's better if we can change it on the master fixtures. So Northern Gales, you're first up.
Ballinalee.
Kieran.
Arda, please.
Joe.
Ballinalee. Thank you.
Mossy.
Go Arda there.
Keena. Dominic's.
Killishee, please.
Grattans.
Killishee, please, Damien.
Wolf Tones,
Go Ardle, Damien.
St. Francis,
Clongish.
Enda,
Granard, please, Damien.
Kilo,
Clongish, Damien.
Shannon Gales,
Clongish there, please.
and Carrick to Granard. Okay, so the last one of these is host venues: Abilara, Longford Slashers, Cullenkill, Ballymahan, Keena. So Grattans, you're up first.
Keena, please, Damien.
Wolf Tones, John,
Go Ballymahan.
Corny,
Colmkill.
Enda,
We try Keena.
Kilo,
We go Colmkill.
Shannon Gales,
Keena, please.
Carrick, just the mic, Carrick maybe.
Ballyman.
Granard,
Northern Gales. Abilara.
Clongish,
Longford Slashers.
Clonbrony,
Abilara, please.
Southern Gales, Slashers are Cullenkill.
Longford Slashers.
And say, Darrell, you're off to Cullenkill. Okay, thanks everyone. That was brilliant. Worked really well there. It just shows like stuff like this. There's no real need to be pulling us into the park for kind of things like this anymore. It's really well run, and fair play to you all. So the optional stuff will kick off. Your last of these Wednesdays is 25th of August. So that's kind of, might even for some schools be the first week back at school, or it might be just the last Wednesday before they go back to school. Then about a week and a half later, we move to a Saturday. And the reason we go to the Saturday that early is because just to keep the continuity with the next two. So it'll be a Saturday morning, more than likely, time to be confirmed. If there's soccer going on and soccer's in the morning and it suits better to do it in the evening or do it better on a Sunday, all of that is fine. That can all get ironed out closer to the time. We will have these venues shouldn't be in there. It was just copying it from last year. So there will be a number of venues based on the number of teams that will come into it. But the dates are the 11th, the 25th, and the 9th of October. So don't need to worry about that stuff at the minute. What you need to just worry about is your first blitz is on the 9th of June, Wednesday the 9th of June, and you will have 6 Wednesdays there up until the end of August. Hit save there to make sure that's all kept. All these fixtures will be updated on the Longford Master fixtures tomorrow morning. It'll all be up on that. And I will email out your club secretary with tonight's presentation, with the recording of the session and the specific fixtures. So if anybody has any questions there that they want to bring up, I'll just share one last thing that you can take a photo of if you like. It's just all those dates in the one place. And if anyone has a question, you can just stick the mic on and ask the question. So there's your dates there. I'll just make it a little bit bigger for you. So you can take a screenshot of that if you want. Okay, anybody there with a question or anything? As I said, thanks, you've been brilliant tonight.
What time are they on at them?
Sorry, Moss, you think that's you?
Yeah, what time are them fixtures?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yeah. And again, if a host club for any reason needs to change it, all of these things are a movable feast. You just communicate with the teams that's coming to you and you have as much flexibility as you want.
Fair play, Demo.
Thanks, Moss. Okay, everyone else happy? Again, Owen, Paddy, if it's Longford Slashers, it can be Kieran or myself. can be all contacted at any stage. If there's any questions on any of this sort of stuff that crops up again later, feel free to touch in with us. Thanks again. Doesn't seem like there's anything else coming through, so we'll say goodbye. I'll stop the recording, and hopefully you enjoy your time getting back on the pitch. And I know